Hi, my name is Bonnita Nyamwire and I work for Pollicy as a co-director research. We conducted a research as Pollicy on non-dominant languages on the internet, and we were looking at how other languages apart from English are used on the internet, and we did this research in Uganda, in Tanzania, and Ethiopia. So Ethiopia and Tanzania is because they have like one particular official language in the country, and then for Uganda there are several languages that are used in the country. So it was kind of a comparison of Tanzania, where they use mainly Kiswahili, and Ethiopia, where they use mainly Amharic. So comparing with Uganda, where there are so many languages used. So we wanted to see, so how does this then reflect on the internet? We found out that in all these three countries, definitely on the internet, on different digital platforms, it's English that is the main language that is used. But however, given that the internet connects people from different walks of life, then there is a challenge there where English becomes a problem in communicating on the internet, you know. So in our target population, we had like gig economy workers, we had people in the media, we had university students. So we wanted to see how each of these categories then use the internet, how do they interact on the internet and what languages do they use. So we found out that most of them, they use by default, they use English because that is the internet language. However, they would love to use the local languages, their local languages on the internet, but they find challenges. First of all, the non-English languages, they are not supported on the dictionary, which is online on the different social media platforms, for instance. So when they type in a word, for instance, in Kiswahili, it won't be corrected by the internet because the internet does not understand Kiswahili, does not understand Luganda, does not understand Amharic. So they find a challenge now when they want to communicate with people who do not understand English well. So they struggle. So there's a lot of challenges in using the local languages on the internet for all the categories of people that we spoke to. We would like to see non-dominant languages also be supported on the internet, on different digital platforms. If someone goes on to look for something on Google, Luganda should be supported. It can come and appear in Luganda without having to say or translate from English to Luganda. We advocate for the support of these languages from the different stakeholders that are involved in the digital ecosystem. It is a call to action that different stakeholders, government, telecom companies, civil society organization, academic institutions, developers, you know, they should all come together and realize that these languages need to be supported so that we don't leave anyone behind. One is to increase funding in this area. People are trying to do to work on languages on the internet. People who are working on in natural language processing, they are trying to do some work, but there is lack of funding. There's limited funding in this area. The second one is also to have more research in this area. There is limited research around languages used on the internet, so we need to do more and more research and explore more other aspects into what this should look like, so that they don't get lost. Language is a heritage, you know. So if our local language disappears, you know, from the scene, if it disappears from the internet, it's also going to definitely disappear even in the offline spaces. English is overtaking the other languages. But what about people who are not educated? How shall we communicate with them? But also you find that most of what we have, most of our artifacts are also preserved in the local languages. So we don't want to lose our local languages. We want them to be preserved in all spaces, online and offline. this grant from Internet Society, we are so grateful. We appreciate it because we were able to reach even the far areas away from the cities in the three countries when we're doing this research to understand the issues around the internet language. This grant was so helpful, and also in disseminating this knowledge. We shared the findings in different platforms, online and offline.